welcome to Back Issues. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And today we're going to be talking about a book that's actually a little more recent than I often cover on this show. Usually I'm talking about something that came out a bit ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Same with Sal, usually.
Yeah, typically that, but these are so new that we only have the floppies.
Whoa.
Not even a trade yet.
Not the trade.
Very new.
If you're in the future, then the trade may have come out already. But if you're not, this trade doesn't come out until May of 2022.
It'll be hilarious when there's like, the trade is out.
That's why
I'm watching this in 2023.
Full of shit, Comic
Yeah.
Pop.
Why didn't you just get the trade?
Get your facts straight.
Because I'm not a time traveler. Not that you know. Today we're going to be covering the Black Label book, Batman Reptilian. We talked about this on our sister show on our sister channel, ComicPop Returns, Off the Rack. This just wrapped up maybe a month or so ago.
Okay. Is this a like a horror book? Is that why you're doing it?
I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of it, but
Okay.
I want you guys to decide what you think about it by the end of it.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. We don't get to
Okay?
find out what your opinion
Huh.
is.
No,
That's going to be
I'm-
tough for you to
This is just gonna be
disguise how you
factual.
feel about it.
No, it is. I'm just going to tell you about the book.
Okay.
It's written by Garth Ennis
Nope.
with art by Liam Sharp.
Okay.
All right? This kind of just came out of nowhere. As soon as I read the first issue, and as soon as Sal read the first issue, which honestly, after the first issue, Sal was like, I'm good. Just let me know how it goes.
Right.
And I was like, okay. It was only 6 issues, so I was like, I'm going to finish this. We're going to do
Right.
this whole thing. And I did.
Yikes.
Yeah, we'll get to it. You trust me. Trust me. We're going to
Don't
get
jump
into this.
ahead.
Don't
All
jump
right.
ahead just yet.
All
I'm
right.
judging books by their covers.
Oh, well, that's funny because these are all the Sharp covers, and then literally the last issue we couldn't get the Sharp cover. They were sold out, and so we had to get a variant cover, and it's a fine variant, but I'm like, it kind
Damn
of
it.
kills me.
Yeah.
It kind of kills me.
I was wondering, it's like, did they do something really weird?
No,
with
no.
the last book?
Each one of them has like variants, and there's actually some really great variant art in these. Upon looking at this book, I was like, this feels like it's a '90s book, right? Like it was like a book that got like a script that got shoved into a drawer, and then they pulled it out and were like, can we do this?
Who was that artist that did the Crazy Max thing? Was that Keith David?
Sam Keith.
Sam Keith.
Keith
That's
David.
what it was.
Keith David is the voice of Goliath.
Nah.
And also Spawn. That must be it. That must be what this book is. It was a script that Ennis wrote back in the 90s and they put in a drawer and then they pulled it back out because they've been known to do that. When we did Green Hell with Gaiman's book about
Yes.
Superman and Green Lantern.
I wasn't
I was
here
like,
for
you
that
weren't there for that
Oh,
one. It
but-
was-
I'm nodding.
I remember that.
You are.
I saw the episode.
Yeah, but that was a script that had been shelved because they were
Yes.
going a different route and they
Yeah.
pulled it back out. So I
Yeah,
was like,
you could tell it was like older.
right, it
kinda
felt old, and
sensibility.
that's how this felt, right? But then, and shout out, by the way, to the YouTube channel Forbidden Planet, which is also a very famous comic book store. They did a great interview with Ennis that talked about this book, all right, and like where this came from. Where this came from was about 6 years ago, give or take when that interview came out, which was maybe some months ago, so 6-ish years ago. Famed comic book artist Steve Dillon was alive and had been sick and was getting better and wanted to get back into drawing. Now, Ben, you know Steve Dillon.
Yep.
Because he drew Preacher.
Along
okay.
with Garth Ennis.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Garth decided that like in order to help Dylan get back into like the limelight and get back going and strong, like he would do something that he really felt was basically just the like worst commercial product he could think of to write a Batman book.
Nah.
Right? 'Cause as you know,
Yes.
Ennis is not like superheroes, right? He's skeptical about them. Around the same time, the Preacher show was coming out. So he was like, this is a great idea. The guys who wrote Preacher are going to do Batman, right? So they pitched it to DC. DC took it, ran with it. They're like, yeah, let's do it. So Ennis
We
wrote,
like Preacher numbers.
right? Right? Ennis wrote all 6 issues, and then Dylan died.
Oh.
So this project got shelved.
Right.
It got put away,
Right.
right?
You can't just find a new artist.
Well, I think it
in the
was like
middle of-
Ennis didn't really care at that point. Like he was just like, I did this for my friend,
Yeah.
Right.
and my friend is dead, and like I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a thing I was doing for someone I cared about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So cut to about 5 years later, 5-6 years later, is depending on how long it took Liam Sharp to draw this.
Also, DC's just like, hey, remember that book you were going to do for us?
No, it wasn't that. It was actually his editor. It was the same editor at the time, Marie Javins. She pulled it back out and was like, hey, listen, there's this guy, Liam Sharp. You know him. They've actually known each other for many, many years. Like Garth and Liam know each other. They've just never worked together.
Okay.
And she's like, he's just getting off of this Grant Morrison Green Lantern book. How about you do this with him? And he's like, all right.
I mean, I already wrote the
I already
damn
wrote
thing.
it.
Right.
I could just, collaborate with him here or there. And like Sharp decided to do something, like I said, very different than his normal style. So anyone opening this up and expecting Liam Sharp art is going to get something pretty different.
He drew with his left hand.
Ennis says that like if you're a comic book artist or like want to be one, you should study the work of Steve Dillon, because for him, he's the best visual storyteller he's ever worked with, because he's like he's been given like flack for like doing a lot of like close-ups so that you don't have to do a lot of other stuff in the panel. He's like, but no, what he's actually doing is giving me what I want. And what I want is to capture certain emotions or to tell a story in a certain way. And so like he says, look at him, because you know.
This is very unemotional.
It is.
Written
absolutely.
and drawn.
Yes. So Sharp knows that like it's for Dillon, and so he goes into this going like, you know what? I'm not going to take his lead on this. I'm not going to like follow what he was going to do. I'm going to instead think about what Steve Dillon would tell me, which would be to basically go my own way. Do your own thing, mate.
Completely different direction.
Yes, do whatever it is that you feel like you want to do. He also starts pulling from other artistic styles, right? And so like when you look at this art, which we talked about a lot, it reminds us of a lot of people. But Ennis is quoted in saying that it looks a lot like Simon Bisley and Bill Sienkiewicz and Dave McKean. So take a look at these art styles, kind of flip through it a little bit, and then you'll understand what it is you're looking at in this book. It's an amalgam of Sharp's own style with influences from these artists. Now, these artists are still working today, especially Sienkiewicz, for sure. I believe Bisley is as well. I think McKean is, but they were hot in the 90s. This was a huge thing. And like Ennis is like, the fact is, that's when we're from. And so that's why this book feels like it's from the 90s.
Okay, they just went all in.
They
on
just
what
went
they
all in on
know
it,
and like.
right?
Yeah, it's like their influences.
Right? So
I notice Sam Keith is not in the books.
no, Keith was not an influence necessarily.
Ennis disagrees with me.
I would say that I also noticed that in the Batman design that you'll see here, I see a little Kelly Jones, because Kelly Jones infamously has done like those hooked shoulders for Batman and that swirly, flowy cape. You see that a lot in here. But that's really just more of a design element to it, right? Then the last thing I want you guys to keep in mind, though, as we're going through this book, is that Ennis doesn't like superheroes, right?
Right.
But there's something about Batman that makes it palatable.
He ain't a superhero.
Because he doesn't have powers.
Well, it is that, but it's also there's like
He's messed up.
Batman's just a dude. As he says, a bloke. He's just a bloke.
Okay.
Right? He's just a bloke.
I mean, he's not just a blow.
Well, he is. He's just
He's Batman.
Yes, but like he has no discernible powers, and there's something.
Other than billions of dollars.
Well, yeah, but there's something absurd about him. And what is absurd about him? Well, the fact is like superheroes in general, they've got these powers, right? And it's all based in like fantasy, right? But Batman, there could be a guy out there right now who gets into the physical shape of Batman, like gets fit, right? Puts on a Batman suit. Maybe he's got enough money to like trick out a car, right? So you could walking down the street and there's Batman. Right? And that Batman is like got to do everyday things. Like he's got to go to the ATM and he's got to buy bread and he's like getting in and out of a car, right? And that to Ennis is hilarious. That's absurd.
Right.
And that's what makes Batman work for him. And when you read these books and anything written by Ennis and you keep that in mind, it makes a difference. It also makes a difference at the fact that Ennis doesn't believe that most of Batman's rogues gallery is up to the challenge for Batman. At all.
Okay.
The Riddler, the Joker, Penguin, no. Ennis is quoted as saying, he's 6'6", built like a brick shithouse, incredibly smart, massive resources, drives around in pretty much a tank, and all these cackling, giggling, multicolored buffoons are gonna have a pop at that. I just don't see that happening. All right? When you keep all of that in mind, and I did a reread on this, I was like, this is a totally different experience thinking about all of that when reading it as opposed to when I just read it.
Interesting.
Okay.
I was like, all
So
right.
he didn't succeed at communicating his thoughts.
Well, no,
accurately the first time.
Well, knowing Sal and knowing Sal's take on it, it's just that he's like, he doesn't like Batman, he thinks he's a fool. And I'm like, it's funny because like, yes, he thinks he's absurd.
Yeah, but also he could kick all these people's asses.
But he also doesn't think, like this Batman and the Batman that he writes doesn't feel like any of his rogues are up to his challenge. And that's why he acts that way. And I'm like, that's okay. Okay. Also, Ennis's first Batman book that he read cover to cover, first American comic that he read cover to cover was Dark Knight. He read that and he was like, whoa. Because he watched Adam West Batman. And he's like, yeah, that's fun and silly and in small doses and I enjoyed it. But having that and then reading Dark Knight made him enjoy it a little bit more, partially, because he was like, that book is committed and it's serious and like...
It's gritty.
Well, yeah, but like it is just like, there's conviction in that book, right? And they keep it from beginning to end. And he was like, oh my God, I've been missing out on American comics. I have to go out right now and buy all the DC and Marvel books I can.
Uh-oh.
And so he does.
Right.
And then he reads them and he's like,
Oh.
They're nothing like this.
what?
What a mistake.
So it's just kind of all downhill from there. So Batman Reptilian starts off in Gotham. I think it's raining. It's hard to tell because it's the art, right?
Yeah.
We're outside.
It's always
we're outside the
raining.
courthouse. There's a wall of a man there, and what looks like Waluigi is his attorney in front of him. And basically, this guy's attorney, and this big dude, is a boxer who like assaulted and raped 2 prostitutes. Right? He like messed them up in a bad way. They're never going to be the same. And then when it came time to go to court, he used all of his money to basically make it out to be like he didn't do anything, and they're actually going to countersue everybody.
Oh, wow.
So he's a monster, right? So they're having this press conference. Batman shows up and just standing there, and he gets closer and closer and closer, and he just accuses the guy of being a coward. What he's trying to do, obviously, is get this guy to take a swing at him,
Provoke
right?
him, yeah.
And his attorney's like, whoa, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. He's like, technically, I can do whatever I want, right? The guy goes to punch Batman, and Batman just knocks him out. We don't even see what happens to him. And then Batman walks away and just says, self-defense. We got our credits page, right? This is a perfect introduction to Ennis's Batman, right? It's just a guy, it's just a dude dealing with a real thing where he's just like,
I'm not going to punch him. I'm going to defend myself.
Self-defense. I didn't kill him. That's going to come up a lot in this.
I didn't kill him?
Batman's killing rule.
Okay.
Going to be mentioned a lot in this book.
Okay.
Back at the Batcave, we get a little introduction to Batman's interactions with Alfred, which are interesting. Now, Alfred, of course, is supposed to be British. Ennis is Irish, and Alfred has like a really like dry sense of humor, and like he's very sarcastic towards Batman. It's not so much the father-son that you often see with Batman and Alfred in like modern times. Basically, a hit happened at, I think it's Scarecrow and the Mad Hatter's like place. Like they were like teamed up. Something happened, and they're responding to that, right?
Okay.
And like,
Or they're just trying to make ends meet, and they decided to bunk together.
they're like, I just can't afford my rent anymore, man, right? Like, can we make this work? Wonderland, nightmares. I think somewhere in the middle, this is all going to be a disaster.
Look, you've got a hedge maze and a cornfield.
It's cool. It's
perfect.
It's cool.
Corn maze.
Cheshire
There you go.
Cat kind of goes both ways. That's okay. It's gonna be great. And also, like, Mad Hatter's like borderline rapey anyway, so you know, that's its nightmare on its own. But basically, not only like were these two like assaulted and gutted, they're not dead.
What?
They're mutilated. They
The
will.
villains were assaulted and gutted.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Did they find just stuffing? What's here?
Yeah, there's just hay everywhere. It's a disaster.
Oh wow. Oh he
He
was a
was
scarecrow.
an actual
oh,
scarecrow.
shit.
Okay,
Oh, I thought. Okay.
Weird.
We need to call someone about this. Like, do we call the paramedics?
Yeah, do we
call a farmer?
Do we put more stuffing in him?
Yeah,
do we
it's
do we straw? Just shove straw
I would
in
just
there?
say compost at that point. They were gutted.
They're gutted. Along with them, there's other, like, their henchmen, obviously. There's also injuries there. 2 are clearly dead, one of which was found partially stuffed into the cavity of the other, like, chest cavity of the other person.
Oh.
I mean, presumably.
We're setting some things up.
Yeah. Somebody's real messed up.
Someone's not okay.
Yeah.
All right, so Batman's like, off I go. This calls for Batman.
Right.
Yeah, very much so. Detect.
Right? He's gonna go detect. Meanwhile, Alfred reminds him, like, hey, don't forget you have that, like, underprivileged children's visit in the morning
Right.
from the Institute program
After you deal
thing.
with that guy stuffed inside another guy.
And Batman's like, can't you handle that?
What?
Yes, the butler Alfred will go handle Bruce Wayne's, visit with children.
Well, because Batman's like, don't forget.
He just wants to be Batman. He just doesn't.
Ennis also thinks that Batman is a billionaire aristocrat who beats up poor people and mentally disturbed individuals.
Right.
So there's also a little lunacy there as well.
He feels like Batman doesn't actually care about
he ain't
people.
wrong.
Batman immediately goes, all right, I'm gonna go to one of the dive bars, the henchman bars, and like I'm gonna start looking for people, especially people who might be part of like those gangs, right? Goes in there. We have a dick measuring contest scene. Note too how tall Batman is in relation to most people in this book. He is like a monster.
Yeah.
Like he's often depicted in like heights that are like unnatural.
Right.
But like
A little
again,
bit more
All
than
about that
6'2".
cape.
it is. But I do. Oh, 6'6".
6'6".
6'6".
Oh, sorry. Still
so-
more than that.
Yeah, but like he's meant to have. I think Ennis's influence here is just that Batman is like this imposing figure that like, why would anyone even try?
Right.
Why would the Penguin think he could take out Batman?
Right.
So he goes there and he's specifically looking for a guy named Volkov. And so he asks the bartender. The bartender's not giving him anything. He harasses one of the patrons, and then basically says that like, you know, you better help me out, otherwise I'm going to start, you know, hurting people, right? Someone decides they're going to like call him and like set up a meeting point. He's like, tell him on this roof, I'll be there. And he's like, and if after I leave you call him and tell him that he's meeting me and did not come, then I'm going to become a regular at this bar. And
Set
they're like,
up shop right
yep,
here.
right here. Batman, all the time.
I'm gonna order the most froofiest drinks.
Yep,
And I will send them back when they're not perfect.
that's right.
I am a nightmare.
I am the nightmare when it comes to ordering drinks. On the rooftops, Volkov shows up. Batman threatens him, like being like, oh, like I'm good on rooftops, but you better watch yourself. And he's like pushing him towards the edge of the rooftop. And like the dude's like, hey, come on. And Batman's like, hey, don't forget, the Batman never kills. Everyone knows that. You can walk away whenever you want, but the guy has nowhere to go except for down. Mm-hmm. He's like, I don't kill you.
Right.
The fall will kill you.
But if you
Save
jump,
you from-
I mean, like, it's not my fault. It's not me. I
Yeah.
didn't.
Or if you
It's 'cause
slip
you're
or
clumsy.
whatever, because
Right?
there's not enough room.
So he's like, tell me what you know. I want to know about what happened with the Scarecrow. And he's like, wait, do you mean the thing that happened with the Penguin and the Riddler? Because I didn't do that. And Batman's like,
What?
No, I was talking about Scarecrow, Mad Hatter, Penguin Riddler. You say?
yeah. He's like, listen. And he's like, no. I want to know what happened with the Scarecrow and the Mad Hatter. And this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So Batman grabs him by the hair and like starts pushing him off the side of the building, right?
Oh, wow.
He's like, don't forget, Batman never kills.
Right.
He's like, I'm just scaring you. It's fine. So the guy ends up going into what happened with like Scarecrow and Mad Hatter in conjunction with the Riddler and Penguin.
Yeah.
So basically, something happens in this book that we'll discuss it in like literally a few pages that causes Scarecrow and Mad Hatter to decide that they need to try to hit Penguin and Riddler before they get them. Right? And so they go to their like hideout, right? And they're there and they show up and like it is a shit show. The Riddler is like cut from like chest to groin. The Penguin is like nailed to the ceiling.
Oh my
he's
God.
like he's like, I'm never going to forget what I saw there that day. And I don't know what happened and we didn't do it. But after that, I quit. I didn't actually tell Scarecrow I quit, but I quit. I'm out. A lot of guys quit, right?
Like spiritually, I am done.
I'm
I
done.
didn't say
Like
the
I'm
words,
out, but like I'm not coming back for that, right?
still
And I
getting my
guess now that
paycheck,
he's
but,
like hurt and possibly dead, I
Right.
guess I'm good anyway.
Yeah.
So he's like, listen, Batman, like they're figuring it out, and he's like, listen, Batman, I don't know how to tell you this, man, but like all the big bads get together and like discuss how to get rid of you. He's like, I know. He's
Yeah,
like, I dropped
obviously.
in a couple of times like listening, but it turns out the two of them, like any of those people could not make a decision or agree on anything, so I didn't have to worry about it anymore. So they had such a meeting, right? And like all the names are there. It's funny too because the Phantasm's here.
What?
It's not accurate, but I don't know if at this point Sharp has been called in to help Tom King with his Batman Catwoman book that he's doing, which is also a Black Label book because there's another artist who was working on that, had to step aside, and then Sharp jumped in. So I don't know if it's just that or he just wanted to put him in. I don't know.
It just looks cool.
It does look cool. I actually really like his Ivy. I think she's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all of them are great.
I
Yeah.
don't care for that Joker.
Well, okay, so
I love Scarecrow. Like this is the creepiest Scarecrow I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's Scarecrow's creepy.
Ennis believes that the Joker is the most annoying character in all of comics.
Ah, okay.
I can see that.
So
It's like, draw him stupid. Draw him looking like a stupid
He's
clown.
a clown.
He's a
Draw
clown.
him as a clown.
He hates
Big
him.
goofy nose.
not a big fan, right? So basically there's this meeting and everybody gets there and like immediately Volkov's like, there was something in the air. And like, I don't know what it was, but like everyone was on edge. Like talking or like movement or like whatever. It was driving me crazy. And then literally Penguin and Joker like have it out for a second and everybody draws weapons. Like people who weren't even involved in that altercation, everyone's staring down a gun. And and they're ready to go. And then out of nowhere, the feeling goes away and everyone just kind of goes home. And after that, they were like, okay, we got to hit them before they hit us, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, like they were ready to shoot us, but we were ready to shoot them too, but
Yeah.
So
We better get
everyone
on
gets
this.
the feeling that everyone else is trying to kill them.
so everyone's on edge.
Yes, something happened.
Mysteriously,
right?
for
Yes.
some reason. Okay.
And he's like, so I'm out. I'm not with Scarecrow. I'm leaving town. I'm out of here. He's like, actually, no, you're not. You're gonna go sign up with the Joker. And like the guy's like, I'm not. No, I'm
Why
not
would
an
I do
idiot.
that?
And he's like, because I want you on the inside because like I got to keep eyes on him, right?
You're my guy now.
And he's like, obviously, like he's gonna be looking for talent. He always is. So you're
Yeah,
in.
there's a reason he's always looking for talent. It's because he's killing his henchmen.
He goes, why would I join your crew? And he's like, because Batman never kills. I'll never kill you, right? Like, don't you understand that? But like, I am worse than the multicolored rabble because I won't let you die.
No matter
Oh my
how hurt
God.
you are.
Yeah. And I'm like,
That's effed up thing for Batman to say.
okay, Batman.
I don't think Batman would say that.
So what he does
That's
in this.
really intimidating.
So we see a sequence where like Volkov's at home and like he goes to sleep. He tries to take something to go to sleep. He's in bed. He turns the lights off and then he turns the lights on because like he hears Batman talking to him, but it's just in his head. Like Batman's messed him up, right?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah, I mean,
Batman's
that
living
would
up
mess you
there
up.
like rent free, right?
Yeah.
So Batman goes to follow up on the Penguin Scarecrow lead.
And Sal wasn't into this book, you say.
I was not into this book. It's
so
weird.
strange.
So weird. So weird.
Riddler was cut groin
but,
to
but he
head.
was still alive, but I don't know if he is any longer. So he arrives and the mess is still there. No one has been called. No one has come for them, right?
Okay, you don't call 911 to like a criminal organization.
I guess not.
You
But
have a special doctor that will come around and help people.
Well,
but it's still going to be a mess.
the police might come. They did for the other ones.
Yeah, well, they must have been found by like a normal person
Right.
who called 911, whereas these
Exactly.
people were found by Scarecrow and Mad Hatter.
Yeah,
so
and they left. They were like, yeah,
SOL.
all right, they took care of that.
Yeah.
Yes, 911. Who's calling? Not the Scarecrow. I'm just a normal citizen. But there's a bloodbath.
That was a very specific thing for you to say. Okay. So he goes there, and Penguin's still alive. And so he tries to talk to Penguin, and he's like, don't try to move. He's like, because, like, what you're holding on to is supposed to be inside of you. And there's just, I don't know why you're not dead, but what did this to you? What happened here?
Yeah.
Essentially, Batman's, like, Penguin is the only one who can talk because there's, like, a couple of other guys who are, like, alive still, like, which is really funny because Batman says, like, I think like some of the Riddler's guys are in some kind of coma, or the Riddler's in some kind of coma, and two of his guys, and then you're like this, like, and he's like, one of his guys is still alive, but he's missing his jaw. What did it want? That's what he asks him. Hit us quick, like it was tasting. What? And then
Like a shark.
and then
It
Penguin.
like bites and then it's like, oh no, you're not
No,
a
I don't
fish.
want that. I don't want that.
But
And
you're
so-
still,
Yeah, but it
you're
would
still
love
dying.
Penguin.
Batman takes some of his blood to see what's up, right?
Okay.
Not because he's a bat.
No, not because he's a bat.
Most bats don't drink blood.
Yeah.
Only vampire bats do.
Batman also reveals that he did call the paramedics, but he told them the wrong floor, so they made sure he had some time to talk to them. So the paramedics show up, they're like, I guess we got turned around. Sorry about that.
Someone died while you were like telling the paramedics the wrong place
But
to go.
I didn't kill them. I didn't kill them.
I didn't have to save them though.
They were gonna die.
Hey, Ethan, look, shark.
That is a shark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so Batman literally says like these, so once it has its taste, it loses its interest. That's why so many survive.
That's
you know what
right.
else does that? The Great White. And then he goes, Cacarodon Cacarius. Which, for those of you who have seen Jaws, immediately think of Richard Dreyfuss talking to the mayor of Shark City about the problem they have off of Amity Island. I'm like, oh, does Gotham have the same problem?
A land shark.
It's a street shark. Oh, we can't use that.
Maybe it's King Shark.
That's what this secretly is. It's the greatest crossover no one knew they wanted. Street Sharks versus Batman.
Or it's a tiger shark.
Awesome.
Oh, what?
Is this Batman?
Yeah, that's Bruce.
That's Batman?
That's Bruce.
Bruce?
That's Bruce.
Okay. Why does he look like that?
He's thinking.
It's painterly. You saw the influences,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's just, he looks
This
like
is why.
an 18th century count.
Well, he's an aristocrat.
He lives in a cave!
He does live in a
He's a
cave.
billionaire aristocrat.
Yeah, he is. Okay.
Alfred brings Batman a prosciutto and Gruyere omelet with tomato juice. I just want to point that out because it's such a weird detail.
Yep. He's like, no, he's
tomato
freaking
juice is
rich. He
throwing me
eats
off.
weird
Right?
shit.
Yeah.
Like, it works with the meal, but I don't want that for breakfast. Unless it's a Bloody Mary.
Alfred
I like that detail because that, like, you don't really see. You see, like, oh, Batman's rich. He's got a butler. Huh? Yeah, but no, like, he's getting like ridiculously extravagant stuff,
meals,
like a regular
yeah,
meal.
Exactly.
And he still won't eat it.
No, he's like, I'm good. Alfred makes a joke about there being airborne sharks on the loose in Gotham. Batman's like, that's just silly. Which I was like, again, that's like, I feel like that's Ennis's humor coming out here. Like, that's just silly. I'm a man who dresses like a bat.
Right, and I think that's stupid.
And I think that's silly. So, you know, they have like a tete-a-tete back and forth, talking about like, you know, Batman breaking its back and stuff like that, and like whatever, like the shark's back. But then the analysis is done on Penguin's blood, and what he finds in there is estrogen.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
Estrogen. He finds estrogen in Penguin's blood, so he's like, okay.
Penguin was gonna lay an egg! What if the child?
The male penguin usually takes the egg, so maybe one of his penguin minions is sitting on it right now, keeping it warm betwixt its feet.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe whatever ate the penguin took the egg and friggin' ate it.
They're having their own omelet.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, it's a Cadbury egg.
This is disturbing.
Volkov gets back to Batman, says like, I'm in with Joker. Like he's up, he's like in a penthouse, and like basically Joker's moving around a lot. He doesn't stay in one place too long.
Like he's worried.
Like he's worried about
like
something.
He heard about what
He's worried about
happened.
something.
Oh.
He asks about who else was at the meeting. I think right now Freeze and Ivy have teamed up, which
So everyone's
teaming
coupling.
up. Yep.
people have teamed up.
It's easier to take them out that way.
Yeah, there's Dumb
But-
and D.
But Joker hasn't
Dumb
teamed up with
and
anybody.
D?
Yeah, Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
yes,
Yeah,
yep.
Dumb and D. No, Joker's not with anybody. Ivy
Okay,
and
Tweedledee and Tweedledum are already a pair.
well, yeah, but they're still.
That's like if Scarface paired up with a ventriloquist.
Yeah, but they got to do a crossover book. Who are they going to cross over with?
Dumb and D. Two-Face. No, Two-Face is on his own.
Oh.
Also, who was there? Hugo Strange, Killer Croc, Deadshot. And he's like, I think Killer Moth was there. And Batman's like, I don't care about Killer Moth.
Who the hell is Killer Moth?
None of us know.
Oh, really?
Is it like a Silence of the Lambs kind of villain?
No, he's kind of lame.
It sounds vaguely familiar. We might have discussed
might
him on a
have.
prior book.
You
I
might
remember
have.
the last few
Firefly.
months.
Yeah. Batman's like, I'm gonna go after Freeze and Ivy next.
Yeah.
And so he goes after them.
Go after the two strongest.
Yeah. So
ones.
he drives the Batmobile into some sort of like underground facility, and like the Batmobile's constantly talking to him, like, you know, there's an active proximity, like 123 meters, and it's getting closer and closer and closer. Like something's moving towards him, and he gets into this area, and there's just people running at him, right? Like at the Batmobile.
Right.
So Batman naturally electrocutes them with 300 volts.
What?
And then lights flares. There's a couple people still like awake and alive. And they're like, I weren't after you. I'm just trying to get away from it.
Oh.
It.
What is it?
Why is the car saying thank you?
It says thank you a lot. Yeah, like what
He
action?
programmed it to be polite.
300
Yeah.
volts. Thank you. Shoot flares. Thank you.
Yeah, it says it. Thank you a lot. It's.
That is strange.
I guess Alfred programmed it. It's British. It's polite. I don't know.
Should say you're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for using me.
Yeah.
Thank you for using my gadgets.
Thank you for talking to me, Batman. He tells the people who are still like alive, there's like a couple of them, to get in the trunk of the Batmobile.
Batmobile
That
has a
thing doesn't
trunk?
have a trunk, it has a rocket. Climb in the rocket.
Don't forget, Ennis thinks that the Batmobile really is just a tricked out car. So
Right.
this Batmobile has a freaking trunk.
Okay.
All right, Batman
It
continues
can hold
to...
like 7 bodies.
Yes. But he doesn't kill them. If they die in there, you know,
Yeah.
they chose to get in. If you read this here, the art's a lot darker. On digital, it's a different reading experience, and it's a little easier maybe to see the art. But like, this is a great experience as well, because you definitely have to like take your time.
Yeah.
You take your time looking through it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's dead. Freeze is upside down. He's like, help me. His helmet is shattered, and like stuff is pouring out of it. So basically, you know, he's like, did it come out of the floor? Because there's a big hole in the floor. Like whatever it was, did it come out of the
makes
floor?
sense. Right.
And he's like, it came in the same way you came in, and it exited through the ground.
Oh.
It knew that through like the 6 inches of rock that there was a tunnel down there. I was like,
It's a tremor.
so
It planned that in advance, or it sensed it?
Batman's like, hang on, where's my bat tape? And he uses his bat tape and seals up his helmet.
He uses his bat tape.
Is it just in
He
the
calls
shape
it
of
bat
bats,
tape?
or is it?
No, it's just black.
It's got little bats on it.
It's just like gaffer tape.
Yeah. He pulls out his tape.
Yeah,
Calls
but
it-
it's bat
he
tape.
calls it bat tape, bat-tape. He asked about where Ivy is. He's like, did it take Ivy? Freeze is like, no. And then Freeze also describes it as being like, it makes Croc look like somebody's like pet turtle. It's gigantic. It has eyes and teeth and talons. And Batman's like, uh-huh. He finds Ivy in the corner. She's been scalped.
Oh.
Batman then releases the guys from the trunk. And
Okay.
and they chat about what happened. He's like, were you guys at that meetup? And he's like, no, we joined after the meeting because they were recruiting, and so we joined on. And he's like, was anyone who wasn't attacked at that meetup? And he's like, no, anyone who was attacked was at that meetup. So that meetup, super important as to why people are being attacked, right? So Batman thinks back to what he said about how or about what Volkov said about something was in the air, something so strong you go to smell it, something was wrong, right? And Batman's like, it was a
kind of chemical,
pheromone.
yeah.
That must be in the air. And
Poison Ivy. Oh wait. No,
she got scalped.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
No, it's just a haircut. It's all a ruse.
She's just gonna grow back. So Batman is like, there's a monster out there. You better get out of here. And he scares them away, and they run off.
Also, when he opens the trunk says, "Thank you."
Thank you. It does. He wants to locate Hugo, Croc, Deadshot, Dumb and D, and have Volkov establish where the Joker is. He goes to grab his thermos. There's no coffee because Alfred gave him he and Alfred had that little sparring match. So Alfred didn't give him any coffee. That's his baby insanity wolf there.
Nice.
I gave him the thermos. It was empty.
It was empty. Take that, Batman. So by the time we get back to the Batcave and we started the next issue,
Oh my God! Everyone's
dead.
Except-
Nobody made it. Right? He discovers that Dumb and D are dead. Hugo Strange is
They
dead.
weren't able to save Mr. Freeze?
No, I
Not
guess
even with the bat tape?
I think Freeze died. I guess he also suffered wounds.
Or they're just off the table.
I think they're dead.
Oh.
Damn.
Deadshot dead. Two-Face dead. Only Killer Croc and Joker remain. He doesn't know what happened to them. Right? Alfred makes a joke about at this rate you'll have no one to play with, Master Bruce. And he's like, that's not helpful.
That's
Alfred, is
fucking
this
dark.
you?
Well, Alfred, 8 people have died.
He says 19. Not 19 other people are dead.
Oh.
And
well, there you
almost
go.
twice as many are badly injured. So he's trying to basically piece together what could have possibly happened, and the fact that it's he's got Croc and he's got Joker left, and he's noticed that there's a hormone been popping up, and it's this estrogen, right? And the closest thing that he can find to it is the estrogen of a large reptile. So a pregnant crocodile is what he's assuming, right?
Okay.
So then he's like,
Killer Croc's baby mama.
he's like, is he actually a man at all? Because Killer Croc's origins is that he's a guy who has a really horrible skin disease.
Right.
That made his skin all scaly, right? He comes from a broken home. I think his family died. His aunt raised him and beat on him. Throughout the history of Killer Croc, people just started making him look more like a crocodile. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
But they used frog DNA.
to fill it in.
Now he
Questioning,
looks like a person could never look that way.
We've seen him look like that in many
Yeah.
instances.
Yeah.
Based
He's
on
got teeth on the outside.
based
Yeah.
on what his origins are supposed to be. It's so Batman's what
Yeah, wait,
is
how
he
did he
actually a
look like
man? Is he a reptile? What is he, right? Is he a guy who became a reptile, or is he a reptile who became man?
I love that he's nobody knows it. He just showed up one day as a crocodile.
Well,
and
no, he
nobody-
knows the skin condition story. He's just
Oh,
is it all a
it's
bunch of crap? I don't know,
Yeah,
right?
that's what he tells
Insolent
people.
boy. It's a skin condition.
But Batman doesn't have time to think about this because all of a sudden there's an all units warning because the Joker has taken 20 plus hostages at the Botanical Gardens.
Uh-oh.
So-
the botanical garden.
Wait, hostages? Why?
He's like, nobody kill me or I'll kill these hostages.
Basically, yes.
Yeah. I'm only safe if I surround myself with victims.
Let's just talk about how this went down. The Botanical Gardens shut down for the evening, and then it was discovered that he was hiding all these hostages in the Botanical Gardens, and he was like, ha-ha! Batman better show up or we're gonna kill all these people.
Right. Oh, so he wants Batman to protect him?
No! Joker's like, it's you! You're killing us! You crossed the line.
Oh. He thinks Batman went insane and brutally murdered people.
So
I
geez-
saw what attacked us. It's the giant Tyrannosaurus from your cave.
Diabolical.
You finally snapped. Welcome to my side.
Well, hugs. So GCPD is there. They didn't bother to put up snipers because like all of the guys in there's like 6 or so guys that are holding the hostages, but they all have like assault rifles.
And Volkov is one of those guys, right?
No, yes, Volkov's in there. Yes, so they've got like FAMAS assault rifles, and so he's like, if any of them miss, all the hostages are dead like 10 times over.
Right, in like
basically.
5 seconds they'll be
Yeah,
dead.
he's like, even if one of them falls down and dies, and like their finger gets jammed on the trigger, because don't forget, Ennis is really into war. He like writes a lot of war comics. He likes books about war.
Yeah.
So like that detail, of course, is going to be in here.
Right.
Because he can't help himself, right?
Like there's no like tactical solution to this.
Yeah,
and I
so
know
Batman's
exactly why.
got to go in.
Yeah. Yep.
So Batman texts Volkov and is like, why didn't I hear about this? And he's just like, I didn't know until like right now. Like, or like, no, because like Joker scares him too much and he doesn't want to like mess it up, right?
Right.
He's got his phone out and I guess Joker runs his crew like a teacher does. So like you shouldn't have your phone out.
Yeah. Well, I
fair.
mean, yeah, because if you have an informant in your crew.
I guess, but like don't be texting anyone. So he says it's like, oh, it's my girlfriend.
Getting us a pizza.
I like that Thug is like, dude, what are you doing?
Dude, don't do that. Like,
What are you doing?
He's gonna get real mad at you.
He's gonna confiscate that. You won't be able to get it back till recess.
He's gonna put it in the June drawer. You're not gonna see it again until June. God.
June drawer. Jesus, I thought recess was bad. That's holy
Joker
crap.
goes right for it.
Yeah.
like, you
Oh
know.
my God.
No, you're not getting this back until summer.
Yeah.
Yep. I
I'm
don't
sorry.
mess around. I can take your personal property. I can do that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
you'll
the
be
Joker.
dead in April, but you're gonna get this
But
back in
I'll
June.
give it back to you. I'll
It'll go in your
rebury
coffin.
it.
yeah, just frump. Batman tells him to shoot the 3 thugs that are near him in the legs. He's like, in 20 seconds, I want you to do that. And he's like, I'm not gonna do that. And he's like, seriously? And he's like, that's 10. Like, you got 10 seconds.
7.
I already
6,
counted, man.
Yeah.
5.
So he does it. And then this dude's like, what the heck's going on? Batman like punches him in the face. And then I think he shoves a smoke pellet in his mouth.
Oh
He
yeah.
fed him a really hot pepper.
Yeah, either or.
It's steam shoots out his ears.
Yeah.
And he turns into one of those whistles on a train.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
Batman grabs one of the walkies and he like starts talking to Joker, and Joker basically is just like, you came here to hurt me, and that's fine. Like, I want you to hurt me because like I know it's you like butchering these foes. And like Batman's like, if you think about that for like even like a second more, and he's like, I know, it doesn't make any sense. And neither do I. And then he attacks him with an axe.
Yep.
What did you expect?
Yep.
I'm the
All right.
Joker.
So was that all the thugs that Batman just took out? So
Yes.
now it's just him and the Joker?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
like,
So he
Volk-
succeeded, he saved the hostages.
Yeah, Volkov helps him get all the hostages out. He's like,
Okay.
don't get yourself arrested.
But
because
Batman
I need
also
you.
like kicks him in the knee
Yeah.
just to be like, there, now you look injured. They're not gonna guess that you were working with me.
Right.
I saved your street cred.
Yeah, because you're going to need that. So Batman chases Joker through the botanical gardens, and inevitably, like Batman or Joker's like, I can hear you. Like I can hear all the little noises that you make, like all your little like rumbles and grumbles. Oh, do the people you're hunting think you're a lion or something? And Batman's like, I'm not near you, Joker.
Oh no.
And then the Joker is messed up real bad.
Wow.
There's very little left of him.
Right under Batman's nose.
Yes.
And he didn't get a view of it?
No. That's okay, because Ennis did, and Ennis was like, I had a good time carving up Joker in this one. Because he's
I hate him
can't
because he
stand him.
sucks. Wow.
So Joker's off the table.
Right.
Right?
So it didn't just take a taste of Joker. It was
It
like,
took a taste, but
Oh.
dropped him. But like,
Yeah,
But
it doesn't
also-
kill either.
it just messed up. But like, he's dead.
yeah, he's super dead.
So Batman goes down to the sewers because he's looking for Croc. He's like, Croc hasn't been seen in
Right.
a while.
Croc's the last one. It's Croc.
Right. So he goes
He's
after
chewing on
Croc,
people.
and he comes down and he's like, what am I looking at here?
Yeah, why is this an alien lair?
It's like, this is where you live like this?
Yeah.
What is all this
what is
shit
happening
around?
here? So then, like,
Oh, these are things I find.
Croc's real messed up. He's really weak. He's lost a lot of weight. He doesn't look okay. He's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I can't keep the weight on. He's been eating homeless people. There's just like skeletons everywhere down here. Like anyone who wanders in, he'll eat them.
So he is eating people.
He is eating people technically, yes.
I mean,
But not
he
necessarily
always
the
has been.
Joker.
Not
apparently.
necessarily the Joker. So like, Batman is like, the problem is whatever this sack is that's on you is rotting. And it's poisoning you, and I'm gonna have to cut it off. And so he cuts it off, and
I'm sorry, what?
Waylon doesn't feel anything, and he's like, okay. Waylon gets into that evening, right? And he talks about the fact that like that night he remembers going there and he remembers like everyone kind of like getting crazy. And then he kind of remembers like coming down here, but that's kind of the end of it. Like he doesn't remember much after that, right? And Batman asks him like, hey, like, do you have any milk or do you have milk? And Waylon's like, do you want me to go to the store or something? He's like, no, I mean, are you lactating? Because you might actually be female.
What?
And
I'm so glad they didn't make a shitty got milk joke.
Nope. Nope. And Waylon's like, what?
I'm sorry, what?
Well, you're clearly turning into a thing. Like maybe the thing you're turning into
like-
is a female crocodile.
He's like, or maybe you're like in some sort of hermaphroditic phase.
Oh.
Because like there is a lizard that can
Some
do
West
that.
African frogs have been known to spontaneously change species.
Yeah, but there's actually a lizard that does this.
Okay,
there's
a lizard also,
that
okay.
apparently it can switch itself at need be based on temperature.
Okay.
Also, earthworms.
But you know, he's a lizard.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're talking about lizards now.
So about lizards.
Okay, that's interesting but unrelated.
But hey, Croc's like, I don't have any of those organs. He's
Parts.
like, what do you have?
Well, I have a sack on my back.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have?
What do you got?
Right.
I mean, you definitely have a feeding tube hanging off of you.
Yeah, and so Batman's like, I'm pretty sure you came down here and that you had an offspring. And it's out there looking for something, right? And he's like, usually it's looking for its parent, it's looking for its mother. And so like, something must have happened and like, Batman assumes that he must have accidentally marked the others with that pheromone, so it went to them thinking it was their mother, and so it took a taste, and
Right.
it wasn't mom.
Right.
Volkov's back at home, and he like just keeps texting Batman about like, "Are you using me as bait? What's happening?" We just have to establish that for something later on, so don't forget
Okay.
that, right? Waylon's like, "Why is this happening to me?" Because like I'm just a guy who had a crappy disease and a shitty aunt.
Yeah.
Right? Like what
I'm
the
a
hell
dude.
happened?
Yeah,
I'm
you
not a
know-
lizard. I am a dude.
There are sick people who have horrible relatives who don't like eat people.
So here is where Ennis goes like, "Let's give a reason."
Okay.
So he says that in the 70s, there was like an Air Force C-130 goes down in the swamp of East Tampa, supposedly carrying an experimental defoliant, which was being used in East Asia at the time.
Right. The
It
Agent
caused,
Orange
yes,
reference.
caused like the whole area to be shut down. Crews had to go in, things had to be cleaned up, except nobody has a record of that flight. Right? Like, no one has a record. The Air Force doesn't have a record of that flight. CIA, nobody. Like, Croc's like, how do you know that? He's like, oh, wait, no, you're Batman. Never mind. Okay, cool, whatever.
Because I'm Batman.
Because I'm Batman.
You're really gonna make me say it.
Okay, fine. I'm happy to say it. Anytime. So this is where Batman goes, okay, but like it wasn't just that. There was like clearly the impact of where the plane went down was big, right? And it caused seismic impact 15 miles away. So much so that it clearly had been like, it disintegrated, no wreckage was ever recovered from it. So they're like, questions. What was it? What was in there? They try to clean up the area. Environmental groups start suing the government. The government's like, we can't tell you who the manufacturer was because everything's still classified. They just start going down the list of manufacturers trying to get someone to admit to it, trying to find evidence of it. They can never find any evidence of it. And so they just like, in 74, they quit and they walk away. They just let it go, right?
Okay.
However, within an 8-mile radius of that whole thing, something started happening. And like mistakes were being born, and like something was wrong with reptiles and amphibians. They were being drastically changed. Occasionally mammals were found with reptile DNA. And a couple of times, some humans were recorded to be born eyeless and limbless, lacking vital organs, some born with scales. Most of them died.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Batman's theory is aliens.
What?
That it wasn't a flight.
The government made up that it was the government
plane.
pretended that they fucked up real bad.
So that they could cover up an alien landing and the fact that they couldn't find when it escaped.
Right.
And when it escaped was clearly trying desperately to bang anything and everything it came in contact with.
Oh my god.
Sexy aliens.
Okay. And it was able to procreate with everything.
Oh, it was the
It
movie
tried,
Species.
Right.
but most of them died,
Right.
except for Killer Croc.
So Killer Croc is an
Okay.
alien baby.
He's part alien.
That's why he like looks so friggin' weird. It's not just a dude with a skin condition. He's an alien.
He's part man, part alien.
Wow. Okay.
No.
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, that was a twist and a half. Thank you for burying that lead.
I will say I did almost see it coming because I was like, is it like the Thing? Is this like a thing? This was like a book ago. And then I was like, nah.
Well, when he had that weird umbilical thing off of him, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Queen Alien.
Yeah.
Well, no, he just
I was
had
like,
a
no,
baby.
It's probably some weird reptile thing.
And it is.
Yeah, that was his baby.
Kind of.
Right. So, okay. So the alien that is responsible for
alien is
creating...
also somewhat reptilian, and so it clearly tried reptiles first.
Right.
That didn't work. It tried mammals. It found a couple people, and it worked one time.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So.
And it was just happy living in the swamps
So
of Florida
I'm just
forever.
gonna. Here it is.
And it shows up.
And then here it is.
So this is the baby.
This is the baby.
Now where's the alien?
Oh, that's gone.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
remember the alien?
From Cloverfield?
No.
Oh, okay, because that's what it looks like to me.
A little bit.
No, the weird white xenomorph thing from Alien Resurrection, without the nose and the weird jaw.
I don't really remember that movie at all.
It's a terrible movie.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. Good thing you don't remember it. That's what that reminds me of.
Okay.
Kind of.
The jaw reminds me of friggin' Violator.
It does look like
The jaw
that.
reminds me of Violator.
90s.
It's that weird
Yeah,
nose thing.
90s.
Yeah.
right?
Look at that. Look at that.
And so it basically just stares at him, and like Batman's like, I'm just testing a theory here. And Croc's like, I don't think it wants me. I'm not marked. And he's like, no, hang on. And then it just starts licking him. Batman's like, well, give it what it wants.
What?
Okay, no. I don't want to read any more of this book.
So I want to point out this cover. I dig this cover a lot because it's a very uncomfortable cover because it reminds me of Saturn devouring his son, the painting by Goya,
Yeah.
which is like one of the most upsetting paintings for me. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I find that
it's
painting to be
very
very
upsetting.
uncomfortable, and I don't like looking at it.
Well,
Yeah.
the eyes, for
It's
one.
the whole thing. I
Yeah.
hate it. And like when I saw this, I was like, all right.
But like, he's just like holding him like,
Yeah. So what does he want? What does Batman want Croc to do?
lactate.
Yeah, suckle it. He's like, go ahead. He's like, I can't do that. I don't have the parts.
Right.
I ain't got nipples, man. I'm a lizard.
Right?
We don't make milk.
And like Batman's
One
like,
of the things
Batman's
that
like,
makes us a lizard.
but the future of Gotham might depend on this.
Yeah, so you
He's
have
like,
to try.
But you're part person, aren't you? So
Come on, Waylon,
There you
lactate.
go.
Lactate for your life.
And for Gotham.
drink my bat milk. It's fine.
Vitamin B.
I was born for this.
Alfred.
I knew it would come to this one day.
I am the hero that Gotham needs right now.
Batman tells Waylon, he's like, Croc, he's like, you're incomplete because you're a human that was infected with an alien DNA as a fetus. So
Right.
you're not right. But like technically neither is it.
Yeah, 'cause it
it's
came from
also
you.
from you.
Why is it so different from him?
Why is it huge?
Yeah. Like, what?
Batman attributes it to like an evolutionary like process.
What?
Because
It's a leap. Does he have feathers?
he has leathery reptilian wings.
Okay. All right.
I guess they could be feathers. I guess that would make more sense.
Yeah.
terms of,
well,
like,
I mean, look
dinosaurs?
at yeah, it's like a dinosaur.
Like a dinosaur.
Oh. And it is birds were the next evolution of dinosaurs.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah,
So
but where
that
do
fits with his
bats fit in?
evolution thing. Well,
It's going to become an owl and join a court. So Batman's tied into this. Croc looks at it, and it's turned around, and he's like, why is it doing that? And Batman's like, well, if you can't suckle it, I think it wants you to impregnate it instead.
What?
He's like, I'm also not doing that.
At this point, Killer Croc just goes, I'm out.
yeah.
You know what?
Goodbye.
I know you don't kill, but like, could you make an exception just this one time? Just,
Yeah.
Just
it's
kill me.
okay.
Yeah.
I
give you permission.
It's not.
Tell you what,
I
give
won't
me
tell
one of your
anybody.
batarangs. There.
It's fine. Batman says that like it's like the hermaphroditic nature of whatever they are.
Yeah.
And now it's wearing lipstick.
Yeah, it's trying to show that it's like kissy, like come on over here, baby. And like Croc's like, this can't be happening to me.
Okay, first off, that is my child. So, No.
The child I gave birth to a child. 1, 2, I have a child. 3, it wants me to bang it.
it's bad enough I have to try and breastfeed it.
Hold, please. Batman laughs.
Of course he
Batman
does.
thinks this whole thing's hilarious.
Yeah, and like Croc's like, I knew you were
Batman's
enjoying
an
this.
asshole.
So then like Batman's
He's like, hey, I'm not marked. I don't give a shit.
he's like, are you
Yeah.
sure you can't do it? He's like, I'm 1,000% sure.
Yeah.
So then Batman like blinds it essentially, and they run.
He's like, all right, I'll do the Batman
Croc's
thing.
too-
Also, Batman's also not going to have sex with it. He's not going to take one for the
No.
team either.
I feel like he was just messing with Croc that whole time.
Well, I
He
mean,
knew
it
that
is.
none of that was-
It is very much.
Maybe it
I mean,
wants you
yeah.
to sleep with- And
Yeah.
then he's got like a little camera ready.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you were going to do it. Snap.
Oh my God.
He's like, I'm live on TikTok right now.
You're
There
gonna
are
go-
thousands
you're gonna go
of people
so viral.
watching this.
He believed it. He believed it wanted to have sex with him. It was just having a hairball.
I don't know
Oh
where
my
the hair
God,
came
you're
from.
so gullible.
Oh my
You're
God, look
so
at him!
gullible.
Look at him trying to figure it out. Croc's like still like weak, so Batman's got to like help him along.
Why? He eats people. Let him die.
No, because
No.
Croc in and of itself is like a victim here.
Yeah, he doesn't
At least according
kill.
to Ennis.
He's not going to let him die.
So like they end up like falling into a pit to avoid this thing, and then that thing's just waiting for him. Like
Okay.
them. He's
It
like,
can't
I'll just
fit in the pit.
No, he's
but-
like, I'll just wait for you. I don't care.
Yeah.
So
You're going nowhere.
fine, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Batman checks his phone and like sees the text from the other guy, and like one of them says like, "Are you using me as bait?" And he's like, "Oh, why didn't I think of that?" And so he does. And so the plan is he gets Volkov. He tells Volkov the safest place for him to be is in the Batmobile because it can't get him in there because the Batmobile can withstand the hit of a tank. And so he gets him in the Batmobile, and then he uses the Batmobile because he's been marked too. So he's trying to get him over there so to leave them. And so he sends the Batmobile out to where they are, and he's like, "I am using his bait."
Yeah.
And he's in-
Well, now I am.
Now
I
that you're in the
wasn't
car.
before.
Yeah.
Okay, that is much creepier than it was before.
Isn't that horrific?
This is like a hell beast now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy and awful, and I hate it, right? So, like, Batman's like, listen, it's probably just behaving naturally. It has human DNA. It doesn't know what's going on. It's a baby. It's on an alien world. You know, like, either it's really angry or it's just insane. We don't know.
Right.
Right? Like, it's one or the other is basically his options here.
Batman,
Yeah.
I know this is your city.
Yeah.
I know that you're in charge of Gotham
yeah.
protection.
Yeah.
Please call Superman.
I'm not going to
Please call Superman.
I don't
Fly
know
this
if
thing into the
Superman
sun.
exists in this universe.
I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that. I can do this on my
Never.
own. I don't need his help.
That'd be a sign of weakness. He never let me
never
hear
let
the
me
end of
down.
it.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to take care of it.
Is it going to be the new pet on Gotham Manor?
You just wait and see what I'm going to do. You're not going to believe
Okay,
what
we got
I'm
a
gonna
whole
do.
other book to get through, plus the rest of this book.
Plus
He's
the
gonna
rest
do
of this
something
book.
crazy.
He's going to do something. According to Ennis, he's like, if you want to enjoy this book, just forget basically that the past 30 years of Batman books have gone on, because that's probably the last time he read a Batman book from cover to cover.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't worry about that.
Right.
This isn't in continuity anyway.
Right.
And like when you read, like in the back of this, there's his original pitch, and like this was supposed to be a Legends of the Dark Knight book, but like he couldn't kill everybody in it because Legends of the Dark Knight's supposed to fit in continuity.
Right,
And he's like,
right.
it'd be really great if I could like maim them a little bit, and then they got better later, and then they just made it out of continuity, so he could just do whatever he wanted. So
Yeah.
he killed like everybody.
Nice. That's what I wanted to do
That's
anyway.
what I wanted to do anyway.
So now it's Batman and Killer Croc teaming up.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
And Volkov in the Batmobile.
And Alfred's watching all of this, right? So they go outside of like where Croc's like lair was, the sewer system, and like there's a bunch of bird watchers there because the Colbert tunneling puffin, and they're gonna come up for feeding at dawn, and so they're there to see them. And so Batman's like, I can't lead this thing anywhere near here
Right.
because
There's birders.
because they're gonna die.
We'll
Okay?
tell them to leave.
Because Batman doesn't kill. So he tries to, but they're like, but we have to see the birds.
Batman, I get that we're in mortal danger. I have no life.
Just tell them
I
the
watch
Joker is
birds.
coming and he's trying to kill birders now. Like,
Right? So then,
or that
get
this
the,
crocodile man next to me is going to eat you
Right,
because
so-
he likes
Get the
delicious
EPA on
taste
them.
of birders.
He is going to destroy a puffin preserve.
right? So he tries to have the Batmobile go back out of Gotham, and instead, like, it just, like, the thing just comes back. Because it's like, oh, I'll just go back to where I was. I know that you guys are there, and I can smell Croc.
Okay. Damn.
And so then Batman puts his, like, breathing unit in his mouth, and then he jumps into its mouth.
What?
Batman puts his breathing unit into his mouth, and he leaps into the Killer Croc baby's mouth.
Okay. And there's still an entire book after this.
Yeah.
What?
Oh, it's grossed out. It doesn't like the taste.
Yeah, he's like, oh,
Oh.
I didn't like that. So Alfred's like, So Alfred gets really upset,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, because Alfred
The Batmobile's like, unit awaiting your instructions, thank you. Volkov's in the Batmobile. Then all of a sudden, Volkov sees these like weird like messages showing up on the Bat computer screen in the Batmobile. Mm-hmm. And like, Batman is inside this thing trying to text to the Batmobile. So he's like getting all the wrong digits. So it's like,
well, not only that, like, you're not in this weird cavernous area. You're inside it's crushed and compact.
It's gonna be really tight.
Yeah. So he tells it to like, he wants it to do code 9 red, so he needs to confirm it. So he confirms it, then he has to secondarily confirm it. So he does, and basically that initiates a self-destruct sequence.
Oh.
It ejects the guy out of there.
Oh, thank goodness.
And then it rams into the crocodile thing.
Okay,
right?
and blows itself up.
And so like,
I thought Batman didn't kill.
well, it's not dead. So Batman slices his way out of it.
Oh my god.
Does he say, I thought they smelled bad on the outside?
No, he doesn't. Volkov comes along and starts like kicking him and like giving him a hard time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, how do you like it when you're helpless? Batman's like, I could hear its heart. It's still beating. And it's alive, and so it like kills Volkov. It tries to chomp on him, and then like it falls down.
Oh. Well.
And then he goes, the Batman never kills Volkov, but things have a way of happening anyway. I'm like,
I'm not gonna be sad about what happened.
Remember when I said I wouldn't let you die, Volkov?
yeah,
I lied.
yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Croc tries to leave. Batman hits him with a taser. And he's like, I can't just let you leave.
Yeah, you're an alien.
So he calls in the government. And the government takes this thing away because it's still alive. And Batman's like, listen now, you're not going to do that thing where you take it and like make it into like some sort of super weapon. And they're like, that's not who we are, son. Like, we don't do that. So they also take Croc.
Uh-huh.
Why wouldn't Batman take this thing and study it for like Wayne Tech or something?
He don't
Well,
care.
because he probably knows the government's gonna show up because he can't hide that this happened.
Batman's got enough to worry about.
Yeah.
You deal with the government. Wayland's like, it's not fair. And he's like, yeah, well, this is what you get for all those like years of like, running around and playing games.
Yeah.
So,
eating
people. So then Batman gets a new car sent to him, and this time there's coffee in it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And the end.
And maybe like, basically he reflects back to another conversation he had with Killer Croc about like, it's possible he might actually be female or on the way to it. At any rate, perhaps in some hermaphroditic phase. Find out in the next exciting installment, I suppose. It's actually something he says to Croc, and then it's the end.
Oh my god.
So
but Gotham has been rid of itself of all the villains.
There's like no villains left. There are some villains left, obviously.
Yeah, you got the ventriloquist.
Very few.
And like Baby Doll.
Yeah.
Professor Pig.
I don't even know who that is.
Yes, you do. Didn't you play the Arkham game that has Professor Pig in it? Did you play the one with the car?
No, I didn't play with the car.
So you didn't. All right.
This would have played really well in the 90s.
Yeah.
When aliens were big and X-Files had come out.
Aliens.
Yeah, it's very 90s.
It is, but that is what
Except the art is not really, except it seems to be referencing it.
It's meant to make you think of it.
But the style is not so much.
No, it isn't, because it's meant to make you think of a lot of artists from that time period, but
it's more, it's so like paintery.
Yes.
There weren't too many books like that.
No.
But the designs are definitely 90s. With the swirling the cape and the violator look of the monster. Yeah.
I enjoy this this Batman style of like, I'm kind of terrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying myself being kind of terrible.
I gotta tell you, like, I feel like if you have any interest in it at all, trust me, read it on your own, because you're gonna hopefully enjoy the conversations Batman has with Alfred, the conversations he has with anyone else.
And the art.
And the art. The art is definitely a reason to pick this up. Initially, I didn't
get any of that from us. We don't give you the dialogue, any of the fun dialogue, or the art.
Only occasionally I'll drop one,
yeah.
but like only because it's like, oh my god, that's so funny. But like,
so all you have to go on is the like insanity of the plot.
Yeah. So like, but the art was like something initially I was like I wasn't sold on, but like I'm like, no, this makes this book for sure.
Well, by the end, it gets like really fun because you get all those weird expressions, and you're like,
nuts.
oh,
And
I
the
see what's
alien,
going on.
like the giant monster that it creates, like that's freaking cool.
Even that shot of Volkov getting ejected.
I
is
know.
Like, oh, like,
yes.
Yeah, that's also very 90s.
Very, very 90s.
That also reminds me very much of like what, 2000 AD kind of style?
Yeah, well, that's
like,
Bisley.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's
There you
like
go.
Bisley did a lot of Dread.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so like we had that book here because the Bard sent that to us, Slane.
Ah, okay.
So that's why we pulled that one. But yeah, that it gives you that feel.
Yep. I'm getting like Mad Magazine a little bit from
little
it.
bit, yeah.
People are ugly.
Yes.
Yep.
So like if I would say grab this just because it's a hell of a ride.
Yeah,
And now that
yeah.
you know or you have some idea of what's going to happen,
Yeah.
you might enjoy it a little bit more. Because when I was reading it, I was like, where is this
Yeah, what the
going?
fuck
like
is happening?
month to month reading this book, I was like, I remember reviewing this by like issue 3 or 4. I was like, well, I'm not going to tell anybody what happens in this book. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't had a chance to read it, obviously, at that point, because it's still going on. But I'm like, honestly, I don't 100% have a grasp on what's happening here. And it wasn't until I read it collected that I was like, okay.
Okay.
This makes a lot more sense. This is coming together here.
Yeah.
Like in a way.
In a way.
Yeah.
In a way that I guess only Garth Ennis could give us.
Yeah.
What's really like unfortunate was like, again, we'll never know what it was going to look like if Steve Dillon had done it. Which, think about that style, think about this style, it would have been so different. I really would have liked to have seen his Alien version of this. Now the script also might have been different because the original pitch is a little different as well because it was supposed to be a Legends book, so like it may not have been the exact same story either.
Right.
Clearly it kind of changed a little bit. I don't know if that changed with the original scripting back in like that 2016 or 2015-14 time, like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Or if it changed right before they put it out. I don't know. But Ennis was like, this wouldn't have been the end. We wanted to do other things. Like they had other projects they wanted to do.
Okay.
And like in the interview I watched, the interviewer had mentioned Punisher, and like Ennis kind of nodded like they probably would have tackled that as well. And I'm like, so there's something you're never gonna get.
Damn.
Like who knows what else he would have tackled? I don't know, but here it is. And it's like to think of this as like that Dylan's looking down and laughing about this one because like he did this for his friend and then his friend died, and look at him, he has to write this Batman book. He's not a fan, obviously.
He's like, you got me, Dylan.
You got me.
Damn it, Steve.
But we got this insane book. We'll put a link to something down in the description below, and then when this trade comes out, we'll definitely put that link down there. I think it's worth a read because it's so out there, and like if
The
you have,
conversations alone
I know,
between Batman and all the people.
I know.
You need to read that.
You do. And like honestly, if you're a person who really digs the 90s nostalgia for Batman, I would say that grab this because you're going to get something that you've never read before but has that feel. This has that nostalgia to it, even if it has like smartphones in it and like there's certain like modernity to it.
Yeah. It's like a modern interpretation of like a 90s.
Yeah, it's like an
comic
homage.
book.
It's
Yeah.
completely an homage to that time period.
Batman just laughing.
There's a really funny moment in there where like Croc tells him like, does anyone ever tell you you have a really creepy laugh? Batman's like, anyone who's ever heard it. I'm like, so if you want dialogue like that, you gotta go out, grab Batman Reptilian by Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp. I'm happy I read it. At the end of the day, I'm glad I read this, and I'm glad I got to share this story with you guys.
I'm
and
glad
talk
you
about
too.
this
That
book
was
because
fun.
this is so
Out of left field.
that twist.
Yeah.
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 And I gotta tell you, I buried the lead by making sure that I didn't let either of them look ahead.
Yeah.
But there really is not a lot that leads up to that.
No.
Right.
It just
No.
is like,
I would have just assumed, I'm like, oh, it's a government conspiracy because it's like, they did chemical
Nope, Batman's
weapon
like-
research.
aliens.
Hold, please.
Oh, we don't usually do that in Batman books.
Well, we're
That's
doing
not,
I mean,
that's not
aliens
normally
do
where this would
exist
be
in the DC
going.
universe.
They
Right.
do. That's true.
It's true, but most of them are friendly.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Most of them
a lot
aren't
of them aren't.
monsters.
No.
That like stealthily rip people apart.
Right.
That doesn't normally
That
happen.
doesn't always happen. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, check the description box down below for some version of this, and go grab it. Check it out. It's a trip.
And thank you.
He's ending the episode with the car.
Oh,
Like the car.
I forgot about the car.
I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.